When Johnny heard the poor ferryman's tale, he told him not to worry. "I'll tell you how you can get free just as soon as I come back." On the other side of the river, Johnny came to the golden giant's wonderful cave. The giant wasn't at home when Johnny arrived, but his grandmother sat at the door in her rocking chair. "What do you want?" she asked. "3 golden hairs from the giant's beard," said Johnny. "That's very risky," said the grandmother, "but I'll see what I can do for you." Quick as a wink, she changed Johnny into a tiny ant and hid him in the folds of her cloak. "Thank you," he said, "but I also have to know the answers to 3 questions. Why did the city's well go dry? Why is the golden apple tree now leafless? And why is the ferryman stuck to his boat?" "You seem to be fond of asking questions," said the old grandmother. "But be still now and listen to what the giant says when I pull the hairs out of his beard. Perhaps he'll tell you what you want to know." Soon it was evening, and the giant came home. When he entered the wonderful cave, he sniffed all around. "I smell something strange," he said to his grandmother, and started searching all through the cave. "Now, don't you go messing up the place," the old lady told him. "I've just got everything straightened out." So the giant stopped looking, put his head in her lap, and went to sleep. As soon as he started to snore, the old lady took one of the hairs of his golden beard and pulled it out. "Ouch!" said the giant, waking up. "What's happening?" "I had a dream that startled me," said the grandmother, "and in my trouble I took hold of your beard. I dreamed that the well in the cities run dry and won't give water. What can the matter be?"
"Oh," said the giant, "if they could find that out, they'd be happy. Under a stone in the well is a toad. If they could get rid of him, it would flow again."
Then he fell asleep once more, and the old lady pulled a second hair from his golden beard.
"Ouch!" cried the giant. "What's the matter?"
"I was dozing again," said his grandmother. "I dreamed that the golden apple tree has stopped bearing apples, and now doesn't even have a leaf on it. What's the meaning of that?"
"Aha!" said the giant. "They'd give a lot to know that. A mouse is chewing at the root of the tree. If they get rid of him, the tree will soon have golden apples again."
Then he fell asleep, and as soon as he began to snore, his grandmother pulled out the 3rd golden hair.
"Ouch!" he said. "What's the trouble now?"
"I had a very strange dream this time," she said. "I thought I saw a ferryman, and he had to keep going back and forth across a mighty river and could never find out how to set himself free."
"Oh, that's a silly ferryman," said the golden giant. "If he were to give the steering wheel into the hand of any passenger who came along, he'd find himself free and the other would be forced to take his place."
And then he went back to sleep. In the morning, the giant left his cave to go to work on the mountain. The grandmother changed Johnny from an ant back into a young man again. Then she gave him the 3 hairs, reminded him of the 3 answers, and sent him on his way. Then Johnny came to the ferryman, who said, "What's the answer to my question?"
"Ferry me over first," said Johnny. "I'll tell you on the other side."
As soon as they had landed, Johnny told him to give the steering wheel to the first passenger who came along, and then he could run away as soon as he pleased. After walking a bit, Johnny reached the town that had the golden apple tree. He told the people what to do about their tree. "Get rid of the mouse that's chewing at the root, and you'll soon have golden apples again." They thanked him for the advice and gave him a sack of golden apples for it, and so he traveled on to the city where the well had dried up. Here he told the guards that they could have water if they'd just get rid of the toad in the well. They thanked Johnny for his advice and gave him 2 mules laden with gold. Johnny stored all the gold on his ship and went sailing back to the kingdom of Gulbering. Ermelyn was very happy to see him again and to hear how well everything had gone. Then Johnny gave the 3 golden hairs to the king, and the wedding took place the very next day. But the king was envious when he saw all the gold that Johnny had brought on his ship.
"My dear boy," he said, "where did you find all this treasure?"
"By the side of a river," Johnny answered, "and there's plenty more to be had."
"Tell me where it is," said the wicked king, "and I'll get some too." "Very well," Johnny said. "You'll have to travel on and on, over sea and land, till you come to the shore of a great river. There you'll see a ferryman. Let him carry you across, and when you get to the other side, you'll find heaps and heaps of gold." Away went the greedy king, and when he came to the river he hailed the ferryman, who gladly took him into his boat. But as soon as the king had stepped into the boat, the ferryman put the steering wheel into his hand and sprang ashore. And now the wicked king was stuck to the ferry, and all he could do was travel back and forth across the river as punishment for all his evil ways. And do you suppose he's still working on the ferry to this day? I'm pretty sure he is, because no one will bother to take the steering wheel out of his hands. But Johnny and Ermeline, they lived happily ever after.